Okay, guess what? We have Lancer Talk. This is going to be volume 4, Tony. We're starting to call these Lancer Talk, or Mike had an idea of. Mike, what did you want to call them?
The Driftwood Squares.
I like that too. So maybe we're going to take votes, Tony, from people and kind of figure it out. Right now, they're glossed on YouTube as Lancer Talk. We've had 3. Number 1, I think, Tony, you've seen a couple of these. 1 was Faith Walston Zitnick. Number 2 was Nancy Canola Polker. And 3 was Michael Allen Schmaltz. And I think these are all pretty fun so far, Mike. I don't know about you, Mike. Have you had a little bit of fun doing these? I have.
Oh yeah, I loved the first 2 especially. I wish they could have lasted an extra hour or something.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I saw the first 2. Mike, yours just came out today, so I haven't had a chance, but I'll be watching.
Don't even bother. It was stupid. We might want to redo that one, Pat.
Well, Nancy,
I saw your note, and
they were great.
We'll talk offline about that, Mike. That I saw your note. So we'll figure that out. So, gentlemen, can you see the screen? I'm hoping you can see it.
I can see it. I remember it.
All right, good. I'm glad you can remember it. So last year we embarked upon this fun little thing of a 40-year reunion, and we put together this awesome slides. And thank you, Tony, for doing one. I wonder when we do one of these with someone who didn't put together a slide, because then, Mike, we could take the opportunity to razz them and say, all these people got such enjoyment out of each other's family history. Why couldn't you share? However, Tony, you're coming to us live from where you live.
From West Lafayette, Indiana, home of Purdue University.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of your life after LHS, it's either Chicago or West Lafayette, right?
Well, and with a little stint for a couple years in California, then we came back to Indiana. But yeah, after Lakeshore, I went to Purdue. My dad's whole side of the family is from West Lafayette.
Oh wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
is that what you were earlier in? Because you didn't come to our class until later.
Right. I didn't move into Stevensville until the middle of our freshman year, spring of our freshman year. And my mom and dad were divorced when I was 8. So I was moving around with my mom, and we moved from Richmond, Indiana Marion, Indiana to Stevensville my freshman year. But my dad's whole side of the family was always in West Lafayette. So this has been, as much as Stevensville, my home, West Lafayette, even though I didn't go to school here. But my kids, the grandparents were here, Papa and Grandma, and we eventually moved back here in
Yeah, you raised them all there. So I got to just ask that question. I got to dive right into that one. Never did that. There's a lot of military kids that do it, or other kids that moved. So moving in your 9th grade year, when you had to have established relationships, friendships, sports programs, whatever you were doing, how hard was that to move to a little town called Stevensville that you knew nothing about?
It was, I mean, it was hard at the time, but it was great. I mean, it was, I made a lot of friends quick. I remember the first 2 guys I met in Mr. Meyer's physical science class were Andy Williams and Mark Waldman. And was at a table, the 3 people at the table in the back, and both Andy had just moved back. I guess he went to grade school with you guys and had been in Miami or something for a couple of years. And he, like me, he was not on the same science schedule with everybody else. So we got put in with the sophomores, even though we were freshmen, and it was physical science. So right away, I got to know Andy. I got to know Mark Waldman, and just a great group of friends. And, I wouldn't have changed anything for the world. So, I had a great high school experience, and those are still the guys I hang out with now, and all that that group of friends from when I first got there.
We're all glad you came up, and I don't think life would have been the same at LHS. A lot of people would probably say without Tony Dowell there. And speaking of, you and this guy on the photo there, Mike, I think I have a photo of it. I'll show later. But you two were the 2 speakers at the graduation. So come on now. We wouldn't have had you there if you were still in West Lafayette.
Well, that's right. I remember that well. And in fact, I promised you that I had the original script And I spent about an hour and a half today looking for it, and I found a bunch of other goofy stuff, but I can't find it. And I know exactly when it was written. I remember precisely. And Schmaltz, you jump in here too. You remember how much you remember of all that, but I think it was Mrs. Stover. Was that the English literature teacher?
Yep, Arlene Stover.
Arlene Stover. She had an assignment where we had to write journals, and I started keeping a journal. It was the assignment, but then I went nuts. I mean, every time I did something, I was writing a little story about it and started keeping track of everything. That's continued to this day. But back then, I was writing in the journal. It's an orange spiral notebook, and I've kept it over these years. I've got a separate building here that I just keep old stuff in, and furniture and all my
40-year-old notebook from LHS. Seriously,
it is somewhere. It's either I picked it up one time and was reading and got cringy and said, this has got to go or something. But I remember. So I was kind of earnest and, real serious. I'm going to give a speech and, writing, quoting Thomas Jefferson and Theodore Roosevelt, real serious shit. And Andy and I were talking about it, and he's like, we got to write a fake one. Don't quote Theodore Roosevelt, quote, Bluto from Animal House or Stripes or something. So we started coming up with just this stupid, just a gibberish, with funny lines that were kind of
like the thing where he said, I remember when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor or something, and somebody said, just let him go with it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That quote from Animal House. Well, Schmaltz we were all in class together. Maybe it was study hall, and we're writing this thing, and we got to talking to Schmaltz about it, and we're like, hey, I can't give the speech. I got my earnest speech. You got to
it was math analysis with Mr. Breck.
There we go. You remember then.
Oh yeah.
And so we write this gibberish up, we go in, and it's a contest. It's not like the valedictorian gives a speech or it's appointed. You had to go up and give your speech, and the class voted on it. Well, we get up there, and Schmaltz's speech, he wins. He gets the most votes. And I got second, not to brag, but so those were the two speeches. And so one was sort of a
Mike told us that last night, that you and Andy kind of came up with the idea and wrote it. And so you're saying the yin and the yang of this thing is his was kind of a funny play on high school and life, and yours was more of a serious, if I'm a statesman or a man of the world, this is the things I want to tell you, right?
With a bunch of cliches and sappy shit that everybody says every time. So there was nothing like really good about it. For example, I'm sure I use some line like, tomorrow's the first day of the rest of our life, right? So Mike, you'll remember,
nice.
he had the line, so tomorrow's the first day of the rest of your life, and that means yesterday was the last day of the first part of your life, making the day before that the second to last day of that part of the first part of your life, unless you count it from that day, then it'd be the last day again, something like that. And then I also remember, Schmaltz, correct me on this, the teachers got their hands on you. There was like this, like, whoa, now can we do this or not? You tell that part of it.
We were supposed to have a sponsor from the faculty, so I picked Mr. Myers.
Of course.
And
he would love it.
he said, no, I can't do this. So he referred Mrs. Rapp.
Sue Rapp.
The English teacher. And I remember her making me change a part where I said something about, for as the Bible tells us. She didn't want me using the word Bible. I should have used it anyway. She goes, change it to an old book of Proverbs. And just to be a rebel, I should have said, use the word Bible instead, just to irritate her. But that was when I mentioned something about he who looketh on the shadow of others shall getteth hiseth in the endeth.
That's classic. That's good.
Did you have the line, or have I created this memory? There's a time and a place for women, and in fact, the Bible mentions several.
I don't think that was.
I made that one up then.
Tony, we've heard of your shenanigans. Maybe we can get into that in a minute. So Tony, walk us through, and then I'll put some other stuff up because I want to move on in the
Hey,
content.
I got one more. Pat, I did make one more thing on the speech. I was telling
All
my
right, keep
daughter,
going. We're on the speech. Keep going.
one more thing. I was telling my daughter about that, telling that story, and she says, "Dad, that's bullying. You were bullying Mike Schmaltz." And I said,
when you asked Mike to do it, it was bullying.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
"Oh, well," I said, "It's not bullying if it's funny."
How'd she take that?
She didn't like that. She liked that less.
Oh boy, look at the influence we have on the next generation, our children.
They're
Tony,
almost-
looking at these photos up here, give us a, walk around them a little bit if you wouldn't mind. So I see you obviously looking dapper with your, I think that's an NHS pin. You got your pledge pin on your uniform. You got a nice looking, we got nice hair, big hair, and a nice suit. But up there you got your kids. So let's see, Tony, you had all right, let me read this. You sent me an email, and I'm just going to get to this because your kids' names are right in this email. So you've got Jake, Hannah, Molly, and Alexa. Is that right? In the kids? So you got one of the kids, one with your whole family, with your wife, and then one with the dog. You got a Rottweiler?
I do. That is Bronson.
Bronson. Like Charles Bronson?
Yeah, or there's a rapper named Bronson too. Jake named him, and it's a good name. It fits.
Oh my gosh. And then there's a picture in the bottom right, and it looks like, I'm assuming the kids are older, so maybe is that all of them there, the older?
That's everybody but Jake on the bottom right at Wrigley before a game a couple years ago.
Is the boy that you have an arm around, is that like a son-in-law now or something?
Yeah, that's Austin. That's Molly's husband. Molly's the one in the lower right who accused me of bullying. And Molly is pregnant. We've learned recently.
Congratulations!
I'm allowed to talk about it.
Congratulations! All right, so Tony, 3 daughters, 1 son. Had to be tough for your son. I know. I remember seeing stuff when you were in Chicago and other places because he was the last one in the house, and he was obviously had 3 older sisters, which maybe was a blessing, but it's interesting. And then he was a sports guy, right? So you and him he liked to do some sports?
Yeah, he played football and baseball, and that was a lot of fun. He had a good high school career, and after he graduated, I had a big chunk of time that I didn't know what to do with. That was a big part of our life for a long time. And the girls played sports and did cheerleading, and they had cheerleading competitions, and we just had a very busy time with all the kids' activities for a long time. But things changed.
Beautiful family. Where are they all at now? Start off with the oldest.
Alexa is in Chicago. All of them but Hannah are in Chicago. Alexa's in real estate. She's my oldest. She's actually just got engaged, so they're planning to be married a year from November. She's my oldest. She's in real estate. Molly, my second, is married to Austin in that picture in the lower right. That's Austin. I have my arm around. Molly works for an interior design firm. Hannah is my third. She's the one on the left in that top picture on the far right, the lower right corner. Hannah, last year moved down to West Lafayette to keep an eye on me. And she's got an apartment here, works for a restaurant, and is looking at some other activities. Jake is in Chicago. He has a very serious girlfriend, or he has a wonderful girlfriend. I don't know what's up, but she's wonderful. He's in Chicago. He's works in carpentry and also does some work for one of my big clients in Chicago. Has him doing some assistant work for him. So most are in Chicago, and then my third is in West Lafayette.
Well, your family's beautiful, and you should be really proud of them. And I was looking at something that you sent to me again in 2004. So think about that. You said you found some stuff from 2004, and you and I were catching up about the old days, and you told me about your family and where you were living. And so that was 8 years before Trish, and then so it's been 12, 13 years now. And I know you get together the kids and you got the grandkids coming, and so you would probably think in your mind that your wife is probably watching from heaven and wanting to see the grandchildren, see how your kids grow. So we have other classmates, I think some in the last couple of years, that have lost wives or family members. Obviously, everybody goes through that in their life, but I can't imagine, your wife or someone so close like a child or someone really. So, do you mind just sharing? I mean, that was obviously 12 years ago, but I remember some of the things you guys went through. You kind of posted some of it socially. You told some of the class. It had to be a really tough time, and you probably every day still, think about it time to time, right, mister?
I really do. Especially when we're thinking about things like a grandkid coming along and another wedding. Those are the times it's toughest. But you get to the point where the memories, and this is a famous quote, and I won't, but where the memories bring a smile rather than a tear. And, I think we're at that point. So that's good.
I'm very happy for that. I'm going to share a picture, and I hope it doesn't. This is the one you gave me in 2004. And look how young those kids are there.
Yep.
So I don't know if you remember this picture. I obviously do. But I always love it when I get to see pictures of my family or myself, my kids when they're younger. And at some point I look at them with disbelief, like I actually looked that good, or my family's that beautiful, or the kids were younger. I mean,
or I had that much hair.
Tony, think about that. When they were younger, they're all in the house. Everything's good. It isn't like everything isn't good now. Everything's fine. And you're blessed in where you're at in life. But you look at them when they were younger and you had this little family unit and everybody was looking up to dad and doing everything. Now they're off, making you proud and doing their thing in the world, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then a lot of times they're the ones telling me what to do now. So I need a little direction at times.
Here's another one I found. I'm just going to share this one with you guys. A couple more real quick. This one's interesting because it's oh shoot, I got to grab it here. So from our high school years, you obviously made a lot of friendships pretty quick, and I got some notes for you on that. But I'm going to show you this one. This one's interesting. This is let's see here. 1 second here. You'll see. Tell me if you remember this particular. Pull this up here, and it might be kind of small. So tell me, it's from the yearbook. Can you guys see that?
I can. I have forgotten that one. Oh my God. The kids are going to love that because I still wear the same shoes.
Get out of here.
Oh no. Here, hang on.
Those are Adidas, right?
I just got some new ones.
Oh, they are. Look at that.
One of them, I got these I'll mow with, and then I got the new ones, and I'm wearing the same shoes for, 41 years now.
So
Perry. I forget what the topic
Perry
was.
Metz, I got it. It was a Key Club skit, and you guys were critics for it. Like Ebert and Siskel.
Siskel and Ebert. Yep.
Okay, so here's some things, Tony, that you achieved in high school: National Merit, scholarships, Key Club, Quiz Bowl, Student Council, Academic Challenge, and so much more. So I hope your kids know that in the short 3+ years or whatever it is since you graced us with your presence at Stevensville Lakeshore, you made a big impact on the class, right?
Oh, well, thank you.
All right, so since that went over like a lead balloon, here's some better ones. Tony, what was the car that you drove called the Boss? Because I asked that one, I asked Mike, and we couldn't remember. I swear it had some green in it. You drove something called the Boss.
It was a 73 Mustang.
73 Mustang.
Yeah, love that car.
That was the Boss.
Yeah.
You remember a class with BertBob.com, and we had Mr. Benbenick?
Absolutely.
Remember computers?
Yeah.
So, Mike, we went on that tour last year. Remember the tour at the high school?
Yes.
So where Benbenick's class was and all that stuff in the back, there's now all the VOTEC or, the, what do they call it? Continuing ed and other programs. So they've expanded the back of the high school. I don't even know where the lab is now. They've got all sorts of other things back there. But I remember Benbenick's class. And of course, Rob Wright was amazing with computers and could figure out everything. And we'd all be trying to learn it. And he already knew it all and was practicing it. You had an affinity for a band. Well, a lot of them, but Judas Priest. And do you remember in COBOL, you had to compile your thing to get your results, your program, and test it to see if it was right. And we could never get on the dumb terminals. You had to sign up, and there was only 6 of them or something, so each person had to take a turn. And one time you came up with this genius thing from his album and from his songs, and you're like, I'm Judas Priest screaming for a terminal, and my song is, You've Got Another Compilation Coming. Do you remember that?
No.
That's a you.
I came up with that.
You took Screaming for Vengeance into Screaming for a Terminal. and you got another thing coming you got another compilation coming. And I'm pretty sure you penned this one too. And so hopefully people will not get offended when I say this and my children won't listen to this, but Quiet Riot had a song, and I'm pretty sure it was named Come On, Feel the Noise, and you called it Come On, Feel My Loins. So sorry to bring out my most vivid memories of you in high school, but we're always cracking up at the things you could come up with on the cuff.
Got some good ones. I'd forgotten that one, but
so you'll write those down for your children. So now
good.
fast forward to later, and this I can find it here. I found this page, and I want to see if I can show you this. So because we had this conversation, I think you and I did just recently, and that is you used to be on Facebook, and you were you entertained me, and I'm sure many others, probably hopefully Mike and others on Facebook, because you were always trolling people. I loved it. Well, this is your Facebook page today. And I don't know if you can see this, but it says that you're with the class of 2020. So congratulations on your filter there. And that's your kids. And you know what's interesting is, Tony, do you have any more details on this? Because all I remember is you and I talking recently, and you got hacked by somebody, and Facebook won't even allow you to get into your own account.
No. Yeah. So last year, sorry, I keep moving that. So last year I got an email that someone was logging into my account from Vietnam, and
What?
That's great. For whatever. And well, so I go try to log in and see what's up, and then people are texting me, "Hey, did you post this about you wanting everybody to send their 20 most fond memories of you ever had? This doesn't sound like you." I'm like, yeah, that's because it's not me. And then one of the other things, it took a recent picture. We were in Vegas with me and another couple and a couple of my girls. And me and the guy, Sean, a friend of mine, had a picture at dinner where we both got like suits on. And the picture of Sean and I is my new profile picture. Like I create, like that would be my picture. And all these people are texting me. My kids I've got them all complaining to the proxies or whoever monitors this thing. But they changed my password. They changed my email. And there's just no way to get it back. There's absolutely no way. I tried. I spent a couple days just trying to do it until I finally just said, to hell with it. And it was probably a blessing in disguise since last year. I took my exit from Facebook.
Yeah, and you're an attorney for your career, and you couldn't get Facebook or anybody to fix that. That's kind of bizarre.
I mean, it was an odyssey. I mean, there's no one to call. You can leave messages and a robot will answer, and there's nothing. It's just impossible. And you Google it or you go on Reddit and you try to find out. Everyone else says, yeah, it's impossible. You can't do it. And so I gave up. Someone's whatever they're doing out there selling stuff for me. Godspeed.
Hey, Pat.
So you're back where family is in West Lafayette, and I think we started talking about this earlier, but it probably wasn't on the recording. So Mike and I'll catch up on this, and the group will probably want to catch up on this. Tony, you live in West Lafayette. There's a story behind your RV. I can see behind you there's an RV window. You told me it's a Keystone, which I know is or a Montana, which is a Keystone brand. And I'm an RV guy, so I like RVing. So that's your full time. That's where you live. You built it out as a home.
Yep. So yeah, there's a little story there. Probably no one lives in an RV without a little story about it.
Why not? There's nothing wrong. RV. That's like saying in the old days, people live in a double wide or whatever. Wherever you live is where you call home and you love it. I agree 100%. Not everybody understands, especially daughters in their late 20s and early 30s. They have no understanding for the concept. But like the guy that delivers my propane, he'll be like, "You live out here?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he'll be like, "Cool." Yeah, well, I get it. You got a daughter in town and she doesn't have a home at dad's house. Okay, she could. You probably got multiple bedrooms in that thing, but she probably thinks living in a trailer with her dad's uncool. But sorry, I'm not here to make your life easier. So give us the story.
Well, and when she came down, I have a couple other buildings. Okay, here's the story. So 20 years ago, my kids are in high school or middle school. We live in West Lafayette. I got my own law practice here, the whole thing. And Trish and I bought this 50-acre property. It's not just north of West Lafayette. We plan to build a house here. It's 50 acres, about 20 acres of what they call tillable field and like open land, and some about 10-15 acres of some former wetland and woods, and another 5 or 10 of a pond and woods. And so it's a real mixed, it's a big property. And a couple years, we started planning the house and everything. And about a year later, I built a barn out here. We kept all our, we got mowers and tractors and toys and go-karts and all that. We kept that all out here, a couple miles from our main house in town. Well, then Trish passed away. So the house didn't get built then. I had another guy that worked for me. We had a soil business out here. We were digging it out of the some peat moss out and selling soil. And anyway, Trish passed away a year or so after that. The girls were all out in school. So it was just Jake and I left at home. He was a freshman in high school. And we were like, you know what? You want to just change everything. You want to just mix it up and go. And so he and I picked up in Chicago. Live right downtown or on the north side, first in Old Town, and then 2 years after that we moved up by Wrigley. And so we just sort of over. And what's interesting, what was good too, is as the girls got out of college, they moved back to Chicago. There's a little more traction there than coming back to West Lafayette. So when Jake and I moved up, we sold the family house that the kids grew up in, but I kept the farm. And I'd come down once in a while, but not a whole lot. But when Jake, we spent after 4 years, Jake graduated from high school and was gone. No more sports to go to, no more making sure he's staying in line and that kind of thing. So I started coming down more and more to what I call the property. And like I say, I have a barn here, and a bunch of stuff, but not a whole lot else. So I have this friend, former neighbor, also a distant. We learned later that's a whole nother story. He's a second cousin, but Luke, he had stopped in Chicago. One of the best things about Chicago is people are always coming in for Cubs games, friends all the time. One of the best parts. And we had a big house right near Wrigley, like I said, on Marshfield, near Marshfield and Addison. And people are always coming in. Well, Luke was in, and I'm like, Luke, I'm thinking about, and he lives here in West Lafayette. I said, yeah, I'm thinking about building a cabin or something back at the property. I need to get water. I need to get septic. I need all this stuff, but I want to have a cabin down there as a getaway. And he goes, well, why don't you just buy a camper? Just get a camper, and you got a stove and a bathroom and a shower, and you got everything. You got heat. I'm like, well, never thought of that. So I went the next day and bought a camper, had it delivered down here for a couple $100. And next thing you know, there you go. Next thing you know, I got a place here and a place in Chicago. Well, then COVID hit, and the kids all moved home, including Molly and her husband. This is right before they got married, and all the kids were there, and we had fun. It was like Christmas for 3 months. And then some of the kids.
Wait.
Yep.
So you're in an RV where all the kids are home for 3 months.
That's when I had the big house in Chicago.
Gotcha. Okay, keep going. Sorry.
So all the kids move home, and we got plenty of room. It's 4 stories. I have my office there, so I can get away. And it like I say, it works good for like 3 or 4 months. But then I'm like, yeah, I kind of want to get out. I got this big dog, Bronson. I got to walk him like 5 miles a day, keep him busy. I come down to the property at 50 acres. I just turn him loose, and he can just run all over the place. So he and I start coming down here, got the camper, staying down here. I get water put in. I get a septic system put in, that kind of thing. I have a bathroom in the barn now as well. And I started coming down here on weekends. Well, after COVID, you could really work anywhere. And at first, and everything's remote. And I just
started to work from the bathroom.
Well, not the bathroom, but when I got fiber optic, I could work from the like I'm on fiber optic right now here in the middle of nowhere.
I'm just making fun of the way you presented that. We got a bathroom in the barn, and after COVID, you could work anywhere. And
you could. Hey, Mike, if I have a tornado, that's where I'm going. I'm going in that bathroom. That's really my best option.
Nice.
But for a while, I had the house and the camper, and then I said, why do I need this? Why do I need this house anymore? And I'm down here. I was down here most of the time, so I got rid of the house. I got a bigger, better camper, the one I'm in now. And for the last couple of years, I've been sort of planning to build a house. Been looking at plans, had some drawn up, and making the plans for that, and haven't really had any real urgency to it, other than people saying, "What, you live in a camper? What the hell?" But now I've got some developments in my life, and I'm ready. I'm building, and I'm going through the finance process right now to get that. It's not real easy to get a loan in this situation, but I've got some. I'm working on it. So stay tuned on that. I'll be building a house out here. If you zoom in there, you can probably see. There you go.
Oh, right here at the roundabout.
Okay, that
Circle
roundabout
driveway.
behind to the west of that roundabout, that oblong is dirt that I brought in to build a mountain. And that was built a couple years ago. And right now I'm bringing in dirt to build next to it. Now here's the fun part. They pay me to take the dirt because they're digging out and they need to get rid of the dirt. So they pay me $25. This latest deal, $25 a truckload. The contractor brings out his equipment, his bulldozer, and makes my mountain, and they put it all there. And it's going to be, and that's where I want to put that anyway.
They're paying you because they want to get rid of fill dirt.
They don't have anywhere to get rid of the fill dirt. And
Yeah,
I've got
want it raised because you want an elevated position because that's a good
I do.
strategic military thing.
Partially that I want to have a view of everything, coyotes and such, but also a permit, you can only get 1 acre at a time, or you have to go through the state and the government and all this. So I said, well, you're going to bring that in and you put it on this 1 acre, and it ends up making it's about 100 feet high on the backside, and it gently slopes down to the driveway.
That's awesome. Okay, so to the right of all this driveway, see this pond here?
That's a pond.
Is there something right here in the middle of the pond?
That's a bubbler to
yeah.
give oxygen to the pond for the fish.
Yeah,
And
or to
so-
keep the stuff from growing in there.
You see that little white spot back there? To the north in that little clearing? Yeah, that's the camper. And then I got
This is
another
you way back here?
Yeah. Do you see it?
Oh, do you drive back this?
Yeah, there's another circle back there in the trees. And there's a barn back there, and then another building I call the library where I keep all my stuff and was looking for the reports. And then I got another carport back there.
So
Right.
eventually up here in the front where all this dirt is where you want to build the house.
Right.
And so what are these life developments that are causing you to want to build the house, if you don't mind, other than grandkids?
There's just some different things. Don't want to jinx
Things
anything.
going on that you are hoping to build a house for.
Yeah, just got to grow up at some point, and
Can we
start
come
thinking-
hammer a few nails or come visit?
And what?
Can we come hammer a few nails or come visit the new house?
Yes. Absolutely, bring your tool belt. We'll get to work. Anytime. Love it.
I think that's exciting for you to take that, and you have a nice giant piece of property and looks like a lot of privacy and everything. You can do whatever you want with that. And so do you like, and let me ask you that. I RV and have done it for years with my wife because she likes to do it, but we'll go up to northern Michigan in places, and you can go for weeks or you can go for weekends. We go to Florida and do a what people would call in Michigan like snowbirding, how you go in the winter.
Yeah.
So I've been in it for 3 months at a time. Do you ever feel like, now you're acclimated to it and it's kind of nice? I mean, it's kind of like tiny house living, right?
It is, and it's fine for one person and a big dog. But if there were two people, it might be a little tighter. I don't, but you would know better than I would about that. I don't know.
We're good. We don't have a giant Rottweiler that's taking up all the space.
Right. But and I've got like I say, plenty of room to get out, and it's just it's great. But I work in here, I've got my office, I'm, computer and all that. So I don't mind it.
Sweet.
So Tony, you said you had some things you had researched from, earlier. Anything you found that I do have one other thing. So go ahead and find something on your end. And then I got one more thing for you that I'm going to have to play for you.
Okay. No, I was looking for the speech. I swear I don't have an unrecorded thought for the last 40 years that I didn't have written down or saved, except for that speech, Mike, and I owe you an apology. But I found like a bunch of old Lakeshore drifters that I should have brought to the reunion. I got these. Here was a fun one from 1981. The Key Club slave sale was a success.
Oh,
That's probably not allowed anymore, I would bet.
probably not.
Here's one. This one we actually had at the reunion. That was like our last one. Here's one where Mr. Canola was elected to a statewide athletic council. And I got a bunch of those. Just finding some old stuff like that. Just to show that I really was digging around. I was trying to find that. And maybe it'll turn up, but I don't know where it could have. Oh, and this was made for the 2004 reunion, I believe, the 20-year. So you guys still have that?
I remember that one. I've seen pictures of that. I think I might have it somewhere.
Yeah. And then I found on my computer, you're welcome to all the pictures from that 20-year reunion. And a disc was made. You think that Jeff Schulster might have put that together for that?
Yes, he posted hundreds of them on our class Facebook page.
Okay. Yeah, those are good. I was just looking through those earlier today.
I love it. So let me run this and then tell me, Tony, you'll have to give us the backstory on this. Tell me when you guys probably can see this.
I can't hear anything.
Oh, it's not playing the sound.
I just see some musical notes.
That's not going to work. All right, hold on one second. I got to figure out how to make this work. Give me 1 second. Because this is important. You got to hear the sound. I was wondering if you guys would be able to hear that. All right, hold on a second here. All right. If I'm sharing this, let's see if what sound goes to the. Okay, sound's at 100. I'm going to try one more time.
You need somewhere to change the sound from your box to that? It's still not coming.
All right, did you say, hold on a second. I'm going to cue that up because I'm not fine. I should have practiced that. I do not have that to come on the sound here, so I will figure that out while we're talking.
Okay.
But did you say in that picture, you just had the pictures that we had from the Facebook page from 10 years ago? Is that what it was?
I do.
From the 94. I think it was the 10-year reunion, right?
Well, it was from the 20-year reunion, all those pictures that I have.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
so there was a 10-year and then there was a 20-year.
Yep.
Did anybody, Mike, did we have a 30-year?
We did.
I think there was one, but I was out in Arizona and didn't make it to that one.
I was moving to Chicago that weekend. I think was there a gathering on Friday night that was it the old Winschulers?
Yes.
Was that okay?
That sounds familiar, but that couldn't have been just the 30. It might have been our 10-year as well.
Maybe.
I remember going to that too, but I don't think I went to the 30.
Okay. Then that must have been 10-year. And I think I missed the 30 because I was moved to Chicago that weekend. In 2014. But I know what you got there. How did you get that prank phone call?
Oh, so you know what it is.
Oh yeah. I might be able to play it.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can get it here for you. But interestingly enough, I can't get the I got the phone call. I just can't get the sound to come through. I'm gonna get it, but I just sent it to myself, and I'll pull it up on my mobile phone. But you know who sent it to me? I think was Slippery Bob.
Okay. From downtown, from the downtown St. Joe.
Yeah, and I never understood that whole thing because, Mike, do you know the whole Slippery Bob thing. I don't know enough about it. Tony probably does, but that's Andy.
Yeah.
And I found stuff from like the 90s when he was using that, and he had a picture of an old guy, he's like at Silver Beach or some other places. And he's like, I think he had a website or something, he had something named Slippery Bob, right, Tony?
He definitely used that quite a bit. I remember. So a little background on that is when the last 4 months of our senior year, my mom moved to Chicago. She got a promotion or something and moved to Chicago. And Mark Williams and his family took me in like an orphan. And I lived with Mark, for the last 4 months of high school. Well, Mark's dad, who was phenomenal, just died a couple years ago, just one of my favorites. And he had a phone recorder. And if you remember back in the day, the phone recorders had cassette tapes in them. And we got this device that was a stick. It was like a suction cup that went on the phone. And so you could make, and this is before Star 69 or caller ID or any of that bullshit that ruined the game. So back in the day, we would get on that. We figured out a way to record our conversation or phone calls with the phone message recorder. Okay, with that suction device plugged in the right place. So we start off. We're calling places, and oh man, we had a million of them. We'd call up, and the phone would always beep. It would beep like every 30 seconds to let you know, or every 10 seconds, let someone know they're being recorded. Well, we'd call people up and tell them we were giving them a hearing test, and let us know whenever they heard the beep. And then if no matter what they said, we'd say, okay, you've qualified for a loan or whatever bullshit it would be. Or we call up people with numbers that matched up with, FUCK and say, hey, do you realize your number is 429? Fuck. And people yell at us. But you've got one of the later calls where we would call and ask if it'd be okay to rent an apartment. And they'd say, oh, yeah, come on in. And then we'd say, well, good. Then the monkey won't be a problem.
Well, this is interesting because I try to explain this to our children. Think about our children and us and the difference. So we're growing up in an era before even this or a cordless phone, but remember the phone on the wall. And so we'd have the thing hooked to the wall. And I don't know what was wrong with us. Maybe we didn't have enough social media, enough devices, whatever, but we had to find things to entertain ourselves. And do you remember in our era, it was funny to call people up and say, hey, is your refrigerator running? Go catch it. Or, hey, is Prince Albert in a can? You'd call a store, let him out. All this kind of crap. And we thought that was the hilarious thing in the world. And people were like, and my kids today think I'm just stupid for that kind of stuff. But I was telling people that yours seemed to take it to the next level. Now, I know it was still an answering machine and it was still old school, but
we figured
the way that you were,
how to record it.
Yeah. And your script, and that nobody could come and get you because there was no caller ID or anything. All right, let's see.
Or how about another good one was we'd call the gun store and say, yeah, I don't know if you got like a rifle that'll shoot about 400 yards from 6 stories up. And they go, well, and you could never do that now. I mean, you'd be in jail. I might be in jail. They might be coming to get me for saying that right now.
Just for doing this on a YouTube recording. That's right.
Dude,
all right, let's see gun store go well.
Oh, you got
to hear this?
Do you have anything currently available 2-bedroom?
How soon did you need it?
Oh, in the next year.
In the next year. Okay. Well, it would depend actually. How many people at the apartment be for?
2 people.
2 people.
And I was wondering, do you charge on a per person or per apartment basis?
It's per apartment.
Okay, good. Then the monkey won't be a problem.
Okay. Do you have any pets that you'd be bringing with you?
Oh yeah, a monkey.
Okay, you're serious.
I do. My roommate doesn't.
You have a pet, which is a monkey.
Yeah, but my roommate doesn't have any pets.
Okay.
My pet though would be classified in the genus of monkey.
Okay, could you just hold one moment?
Sure.
She doesn't know what to do with you, Tony.
No.
Another good prank call was calling the bowling alley. Do you have 10-pound balls?
I had to make sure for the monkey. We really have monkeys here, and I had asked our manager about that.
Right. Okay. Pardon me?
considered an exotic pet according to the city of Mishawaka, so they would not be allowed to reside in the apartment community.
Really?
Uh-huh.
What other things are exotic like that?
Like a potbelly pig.
Ah, okay. But you allow like cats and dogs, but no monkeys?
Right.
Is it because I'm black? Honestly?
No, it's not. I don't even know what you look like, sir.
Yeah, I think you know. Is it the monkey? It's the monkey, isn't it?
Now, see, that is very edgy compared to what, today people would think would be allowed. And I know you were just having fun with people, but our kids we'd probably be a little ashamed about doing stuff like that, right? But I bet you guys were hooting it up when you were doing it. Who was in that with you? It was you, Mark, Andy?
Mainly me, Mark, Andy, Paul Luker, Perry Metz. He had some crazy ones. We called, I forget the restaurant. We called them and asked if they served chicken last night. And then they'd be like, why do you want to know? And well, the coroner report says that our client ate chicken. The coroner report? What are you talking about? Someone died?
Oh my gosh.
Well, I'm not going to talk about the case with you right now. We just want to know if you served chicken.
Oh my gosh. And you're a lawyer. So think about all this now. All right, one more.
Of course.
Good afternoon, Bakery.
Yes, this is Big Creek Kennel Company Dog Trainers.
Yes, it is.
Let's got my dog back, and you've been in there for some training.
Uh-huh.
I don't think it'll work.
Who is calling, please?
It's a Chauncey Helmet. And my dog coached in there last week. He's a German Shepherd, collie cross, mixed breed.
Your name doesn't sound familiar.
Yes, it may. Pipes was in there last week, and supposed to get some obedient training, and he won't test me, and he hit me.
He hit you.
He hit me.
Please spell your name for me.
Chauncey Helmet. Hillmall.
What?
And what's your dog's name?
Pipes.
Pipes? K-E-S or P-I-P-E-S?
Yeah, the latter.
P-I-P-E-S.
The latter, yes.
And it's a German Shepherd mix?
And, he's got his crossbreed.
And who did you speak to when you came here?
All those people.
All those people?
Right. I spoke to the guy there that said he'd make him obedient. And then I believe I spoke to a woman who attested to his friendliness.
Okay, and what did the woman look like?
Average.
I think she's totally got you, Tony.
Black hair, brown hair?
Oh, it's kind of a blondish brown, darker brown color.
Well, it couldn't have been me, and I'm the only one that works here.
Oh.
So, are you sure you have the right kennel?
This is the Big Creek. You speak to my attorney.
Kennel attorney?
Yes. This is.
Oh, you're missing the best part.
Client has an action for wrongful instruction and gross negligence.
Just a moment, please.
When she called me out, I said, well, maybe you'd like to talk to my attorney.
Yeah, those are hilarious. And you were able to be pretty creative or pivot on the fly, but when they're saying stuff to you. But if they fact check you, you kind of get stuck, right?
Well, that's when I'd make them talk to my attorney.
Which you had plenty of attorneys speak, so you could do it fine. Yeah, but that there was so quick, it almost sounded like you. In other words, I know it was you, but my point is there wasn't enough of a pause for you to go get your attorney and it'd be a different voice, right?
Well, don't give away the secret.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm the only woman working here, and that's not me. And then when you tried to spell Himmel, how the heck do you spell Himmel? Hillama or whatever the hell you said.
It's Chauncey Hill Mall. It's
Hill Mall.
There was a place at Purdue. Just got rebuilt last couple of years. Chauncey Hill Mall, shortened to Chauncey Hill Mall.
And why was the dog Pipes? Where'd that come from?
Oh boy, that's a long one. We met a guy. In the years after high school, we'd go on this canoe trip every year. A bunch of the guys from our class and class ahead of us, and it just got bigger and bigger. In fact, I think it started in '88 with like 6 guys going. I wasn't even on that trip. Then bigger in '89, '90. By '93, we had 26 guys. And as I always say, everybody brought their coworker's brother-in-law, and just on down the line. We end up with like 26 guys on this canoe trip. Well, one of the guys that shows up is this guy. He's introduced as Pipes, and he had kind of a muscle guy,
Big arms, yeah.
So it kind of made sense. But he started calling everybody Pipes. He'd be like, "Hey, Pipes! Hey, hand me a beer, Pipes! What are you doing, Pipes? Where are you from, Pipes?" And I'm like, "Are you Pipes, or are you calling people Pipes? How's this work?" It rattled my brain. Well, whatever. Pipes kept calling everybody Pipes, and when I got home, I started doing it, naming animals Pipes, and calling, "Hey, Pipes, don't forget the laundry," or whatever. And
was this back with the kids or with Trish? Like, what did she say?
Well, the kids weren't there yet. This was before kids. I was married, and then all the group, Andy, Mark, all the guys who go on the canoe trip, we're calling each other Pipes all the time. But everybody is equally Pipes. But I'm doing it with my other groups of friends, like guys I went to law school with, people I know in town. I've been calling people Pipes for 35 years now. And now the same thing happens. People start calling me Pipes. Well, all the guys from high school, my 50th birthday party, my daughters threw a surprise for me. All these guys got together, and these guys that I'm friends with in Chicago, they're all calling me Pipes. And all my friends from Michigan are like, "Why the hell are you calling him Pipes? He's not Pipes." They're like, "Well, we don't know." And everybody's just calling each other Pipes. So that's where the Pipes name comes from. We've been doing that for 35 years, and it's sort of,
term of endearment.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tony, didn't you tell me that you still get together with a group of guys? Now, obviously, you have people, like you said, from your area down there. You got people from Chicago, but a lot of our classmates, even some from different years. You guys still get together annually? Because I think you recently got together up by Baldwin, Michigan.
We did. And it all centered around, we'd go on this canoe trip every year. And like I was saying, we did it every year from 88 through 93. And I think then we took a year off and did it again in 95. But it was always centered and scheduled at the same time as this festival in Baldwin called Troutorama. And the Troutorama would be this country, they'd put a tent in the middle of this small town and bring in bands and a beer tent, and we just go up there. We just planned it that year, and every year we'd do a canoe trip, spend all day canoeing. We'd make lunches and have lunch in the middle, have coolers of beer, and just have a great weekend. And it started in tents, and I think after we didn't do it every year. After about 95, little kids come along and people get busy, it became harder to do it. But we still would always do it for bachelor parties. And we did it the year, right after Trish died. Everyone's like, we got to do a canoe trip, and we get up there. Well, for about the last 10 years, we've gotten a little softer, and rather than camp in tents and not shower for the weekend, we'll get a cabin. And so we've been getting these really cool cabins in the Baldwin area. And now then 3 years ago, we got really soft, and the guys with girlfriends and wives started bringing the wives. And
I heard that.
Yeah, so that was a little bit debatable, but I'm coming around to it. I've got I had a top 10 list of what the positive things about bringing the wives. I was coming up this year. Probably won't go into all those. They might not be appropriate. Number 7 was, well, at least they're not home spending your money. You got to be there. It's kind of fun. Anyway, it's great to have them. I love everybody's wives and girlfriends, the whole thing. Anyway, but the last 2 years, we rented this house in Bitely, Michigan. That's actually a place. It's a wilderness lodge. It's a hunting lodge. It's got 14 bedrooms. It's got a giant kitchen and dining room area and a bar right next to it, and a chef. The chef comes in and makes all our meals. So it's pretty cool, but it's a little different than when we used to sleep on the ground if we were lucky.
Is it the Legends Ranch?
That is the Legends Ranch. Yeah. Do you have a picture of the house? It's it's quite a place. That's it. That's the dining room. Yeah.
Okay, so like about how many couples went?
So I think we had this year. I think we had 10 couples and me.
And so, like, how much does this dump go for?
How much was what?
How much does this dump rent for?
I don't know the total. That'd be a good question for Andy. I think we paid. Well, here's another sore spot. We each paid $700 for the weekend.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Okay, so $700. That ain't bad for a weekend. Right?
No. I mean, $7,000 for that place for, I mean, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, 3 nights.
Looks like a beautiful property. Yeah, so it's fun to get together with that group. It sounds like you're still getting together periodically, getting a group of people together, having some fun out in the woods, or now in more of a pampered area, but you're still out doing the good weekend.
Yeah, we do.
Tony,
yes.
refresh my memory. Where is Bitely at? That sounds really familiar. Like
Just south of Baldwin, Mike. You've been up there when you go camping, Mike. It's just south of Baldwin, which is just east of Ludington.
I remember seeing the signs all the time.
Real close to Baldwin. A lot of the guys and other guys we've gotten to be friends with, and where a lot of it, if you really want some history, is so we got out of college. I went to Purdue. A lot of the guys went to Michigan State, like Mark Williams, Paul Luker, Andy Williams, Mark Waldman. A bunch of them had a house right after college in Grand Rapids, or actually whatever the town is south of Grand Rapids, is Wyoming or Grand Haven, one of those. Not Grand Haven, Wyoming. And they had a house there where they were all single. Now, I had the fortune, I'm going to say that, of being married right after college. I came back to go to law school and was back in the area. I was married, but all these guys are living the single life up in Grand Rapids and what they called the stable. And guys came and went, and some of the guys that I met through them that lived in the stable, because every chance I got, much to Trish's chagrin, I'd head for the weekend up there for a canoe trip or whatever was going on, hang out with the guys. Sometimes it'd be the couple thing where Trish would go too, but I'd always try and go and stay up at the stable. Well, some of the guys I met there, I've been friends with them now for 35 years. They go on these trips. They're also a lot of Michigan State people. So one of the guys who we call the captain, Jim McKinley, he plans these trips. And if you know Michigan State, they always plan an away game somewhere cool, even before the Big Ten started doing this thing with the Pac-10 teams. So Jim for years has been planning trips to Miami, Washington, Arizona State a couple years ago. This fall, the UCLA game. Michigan State's at UCLA in September.
So you like to go? I knew you're a Boilermaker guy, but you're going with some of the friends to go to Spartan games.
I go, and I don't root for them, but I go with just because all the gang's going to, Phoenix or somewhere cool, and I go with them, and all the couples go, and it's a fun trip. We went a couple years ago when Michigan State played. Before that, Miami. So that's always fun. So we do stuff other than the canoe trip and take these couples trips and events.
Well, here's one more. I'll just since you guys are up in that area, and just for Michigan, since we all lived in Michigan, do you guys ever go through when you're in Baldwin? You ever go through Idlewild?
I don't think I have not been there.
Only on the way in and on the way out.
All right. So if you go through there and you drive through the little area, it's right along the main drag coming across to like US 10. But anyway, when you go through there, 1912, they started calling it Black Eden during segregation and some of the times before full civil rights. People had to have a place to go. And so it was one of the biggest in the United States for people to go, people of color, because they couldn't go other places. So they enjoyed Michigan, and there's a lot of history up there. So if you ever go through there, drive through and check out some of the old buildings, some of the signs and stuff, because I'm sure there's families that still go up there and celebrate and remember. But there's a ton of history up there, which is kind of nice because you've been up in Michigan where you were at the lodge, and there can certainly be a lot less diverse areas of Michigan. So it's nice to have things like that from our history, right?
That is very true. I mean, I absolutely love it up there. It's beautiful. And and we always go at the same time, late July. It's just a great time to go. But you're right, it can probably very, very. It's not very diverse. What I've
Hey,
seen.
look, we've been talking about an hour, guys, and I could go on for hours, and we could do more of this. And Tony, one of our ideas was maybe we get. Andy was thinking this, maybe get a couple people. So we'll come back to you with some ideas, but we're going to probably wrap this up. But I got a question for you, and Mike's probably got a question. Well, my question is, you're a big Cubs fan, right?
Yep.
So I saw Tim Kirkjian, if you guys don't get a chance to watch it, a 2-minute tribute to Ryan Sandberg on ESPN the other night because he died at 65. And I remember watching him play. The most fun thing I used to think back watching the Cubbies, because we all grew up. I mean, I grew up in Michigan where you'd think we'd like the Tigers, right? We were closer to Chicago. So, Mike, I think you're the same way. We grew up with Chicago teams. And I remember Harry Carey being in the stands with the fans drinking some Budweisers. And the Cubs were always entertaining. And Ryan Sandberg was a class act. His speech at the Hall of Fame, who he was as a player, putting his head down, never showing off. Amazing guy. Just a big loss for baseball. But I'm sure you loved Rhino.
One of the best. Yep.
I told Carol at the reunion, they had just erected that Ryan Sandberg statue. And I believe it was on the same day that I believe it was the 40th anniversary of the Sandberg game, which I was lucky enough to be at. Me and a coworker just went on a whim, and I saw him 10 years later, and he goes, yeah, there's over 1 million people claim to have been at that game. But we were.
Yeah, he went off in that game for a whole bunch of hits and home runs, and they won like 12-11 against the Phillies or something like that. That was a big game.
It was the Cardinals.
Somebody,
They had the former Cubs closer, Bruce Sutter.
He hit some
Sandberg hit
That's
those
right.
2 home runs off of.
No, that guy was amazing. They said in that tribute, Tony, that he obviously he played second base gracefully. The guy was amazing. And he went so many games without an error. He did all these records and things for the longest time, but he early in his career could just hit the heck out of the ball. And then one of his coaches or managers said, hey, start pulling the ball. And after that, he started pulling the ball, and he's MVP. He led the league in home runs. I mean, for a guy like that, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Just needed that little instruction. And that was the time. That was also the time when, we were less than an hour and a half, Stevensville less than an hour and a half from Chicago. And, of course we could go to Chicago all the time. Got some great stories about trips to Chicago with like Perry and during high school, we always would go in, and especially after my mom lived there. But we always went to games. Senior skip day, we went to Great America and peeled off.
Yeah.
Remember that? And then peeled off for lunch. We went across the border to Kenosha, where the drinking age was 18. And we went to a Pizza Hut and drank beer legally in Kenosha on senior skip day, our senior year. And I still remember we're sitting at the table, and Todd Tiefenbach must have a late birthday because he was still 17. So the waitress comes up and wants to see all our IDs. And Tiefenbach's at the end going, all right, let's get those IDs out here. Let's go. And he's pushing them all down and made it through. So we went up there and had a few pops and went back to.
He didn't look at his ID. She gave him a beer.
Gave him the beer. Mark Williams and I, like I mentioned, I can tell this story now. We waited for a few years to tell this one, but we also bought a ton of. We stopped at a liquor store and bought a shit ton of Coors. This was the real Coors when you could get it. You could get it up there. So and for us, whatever that was, I got like 4 cases of Coors. So we hid it in Mark Williams' basement, and we would keep one cold hidden in the refrigerator, or like 2 or 3, and then every night we'd go drink a beer, and then we'd hide the empty bottle in the garage in the trash can.
His parents never got a whiff of that?
Hold on. We'd hide the bottles. Well, eventually we filled up the recycling. All it had was like a couple pieces of newspaper on it, and his dad, Mr. Williams, he calls us out. He's like, boys, he lifts at him. And he goes, what? How did this get here? What is this?
48 beers. He must have thought there's something wrong with you guys.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I got another one. Me, Mark, and Paul, before a dance in my car, you mentioned it, the green Mustang, we go and we're drinking some beers before a dance behind Lakeshore Loose Leaf. There was a dead end with a circle at the end, and we go down to the end of that circle. And actually, I think it was just Mark and I, because there are only two implications of this. We get pulled over. Don DeFord? Was he the cop back then? He comes, cuts us off with, the sirens going, the whole thing. He's like, "What are you guys doing in there?" And we're like, "Uh-oh, we're in trouble." He goes, "All right." He makes us get out, pour all the beer out, and he says, "Okay, I want you guys to go home and tell your parents, because I'm going to be calling them, and you guys are in big trouble. You're gonna pay for this, but you tell your parents first." So we go back to Mark's house, and we tell his dad, and he's like, "What the hell? How stupid are you? If you want to drink in a driveway, you can drink here. I can't believe you're this stupid. All right, get out of here." That kind of thing. And and then it was over for Mark. I never told my mom, but I waited for that call for like the next week. I knew it was coming. I knew I was going to do hard time in, the big house, but it never came. So that's how things were handled then.
Yeah, the guy didn't give you a ticket for minor in possession or anything.
Nothing. Just had to go home and tell our parents. And I remember here in West Lafayette, guys, the football team, some football players, they were friends with my daughter, maybe a year or two older, but we knew them. They were like the stars on the local Harrison football team. They got busted something similar. This would have been about 2008. It's in the newspaper. Their pictures are in the newspaper. High school kids drinking. I'm like, and they're suspended for a couple games and all this other stuff. And I'm like, well, it's a different time. So there's some good and bad and all that, but it was a different time.
All I can say is you're probably happy the statute of limitations has run out on many of the things we did when we were younger.
Right. Including the prank calls.
Especially those prank calls, yeah. Hey, Mike, anything for Tony? Because we're going to wrap it up.
Well, I agree with you, Pat, that we should try and do another one with Tony and possibly Andy or, multiple friends and classmates on here. It might be a little more craziness with everybody trying to chime in, but now it's a good time talking to Tony and looking forward to maybe hear some more stories.
I look forward to it too. Good to talk to you, Mike.
Do you have any questions you would like to ask maybe our next guest or handful of guests?
I just like, for some of those memories like that, what'd you get in trouble for? And I'm big on what has changed? What's different from now and then? Is it, some things better, some things worse? I kind of fixate on that sometimes. I was reading this book recently about how we remember stuff from that time period, 30, 40 years ago, and we remember things differently. And so I just enjoy hearing people's memories. I mean, you can get a little bit of, glory days type thing, but
right.
Bruce Springsteen.
There you go.
Hey, I love that topic. Speaking of, if you remember, Nancy gave us some. So Mike hit it. He hit right on the head. What is, give us some people, Tony, that, and not the usual suspects, all the guys you stay in touch with. Give us some other people you'd love to see us reach out to and see if they'll get on video.
All right. I'm going to go with some people that I talked to at the reunion that I have not talked to in a while. Greg Davis. That was it was interesting. We were friends in high school, and he was like, "You probably don't remember me." I'm like, "What the hell? Of course I remember you." It was, so I think he'd be interesting. Diane Newberg. She had some.
I think Nancy mentioned her too. I think, Mike, we got to find Diane Newberg.
Exactly. Nancy did mention her.
All right. Who else, Tony?
Well, you've probably got Marie Finch and Ann Gain, Shelley Graziano. I'm sure they've got some stories. I want to hear what the girls' perspective is on some of this stuff.
Some of the old brew crew.
You're right. I didn't even get into I didn't implicate too many people other than I know ones that can handle it, like Mark Williams, and we'll get Mark Williams. I'd be interested to see if he'll do it. I mean, he right before the reunion last year, we met in his building, which is right on Lakeshore Drive, for his business, in his office. and you know, he's doing really well, and it was good to catch up with him. And you know, he's still local. I'd like to hear his political stories too. He and
I do
Mike
too.
Sorolla.
I've always said to people, I followed a lot of that stuff in the St. Joe Council with him and Mike Sorolla. So I'd like to hear, I'd like to see both of them. Hey, let's finish this up, and I'm going to hit the stop on the recording here. But thanks for taking the time, Tony, and really appreciate you taking so much time of your evening, but telling us about your family and everything that's been going on since LHS.
I enjoyed it. Good to talk to you guys. Thank you.